Budgets are not helpful. Now, how many times have you vowed to start or even actually started a budget only to give it up within hours, days, or at most weeks? I know this is true because I've done the same thing, and I'm here to tell you there's an easier way that doesn't involve beating your head against the proverbial wall of finance death. Trust me. I've been doing this for over 15 years now. I iterate on the process every year. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I use, how I use it, and how my wife uses it too now that I'm married over the past many of those 15 years. We do this together and we share the sheets that we track our finances in. And I'm going to be upfront. This is not exactly a budget because I've been burned on budgets before in the past. And honestly, I suck at making and following through with budgets, and they've never really done a ton for me. I end up deviating from them, even though I swear by them on the outset. I spend a lot of time piecing together all of the different things that are going to go into the budget. I never actually follow through with it. If something comes up and I want to buy it, well, I usually buy it. That's just how it's just how it works for me. And I think that's probably the case for a lot more people than not. Maybe you're disciplined enough to really follow through with one of these envelope type of budgeting systems. Dave Ramsey, love you, read the books. That's great. I've taken what I need and like out of those, but I'm not going to be that rigid. So first of all, I want to tell you that tracking money isn't hard. Okay? Hear me out. Budgeting is hard for me. Tracking money is not. What's the difference? Well, there's a lot of planning and forecasting that goes into budgeting. The tracking, though, this, I argue, is step number 0 in what you need to do to start getting a handle on your personal finances. Just start tracking them. Okay, this is what I started doing. I did this for a couple years before I even really introduced the idea of maybe I should look ahead and start kind of planning and kind of being disciplined about where my money is going. The first step was simply in tracking, and that's where this video is coming into play. That's where the tracking system, the personal finance tracking system that I use today, that's really where it has evolved into. It's a personal finance tracker. It's not really a budget. It's got some budgeting tendencies. It's got some graphs in there. It's got some nice conditional formatting, like all the traditional bells and whistles that you would expect, but without all these crazy dashboards and just bells and whistles that, be honest, you don't need those things. You need to know where your money went so that you can either prevent it from going there again or reduce the amount that went over here and allocate it over into this category instead, so forth and so on. So we need a way to track our money. I track every penny. That's not an exaggeration. When I closed out last year, today it's February the 18th, 2025. A couple months ago when I closed out our 2024 budgeting sheet, which is one spreadsheet for the entire year, I reconciled every penny, and that didn't take a lot of time. It took, the final reconciliation to just make sure everything was allocated to 2024 took maybe 30 minutes. Because I had been in the habit of doing that all through the year at different intervals, making sure I had allocated everything was properly tracked. I was reconciling with the bank account and bank statements and credit card, all that stuff. I've got a system that works now, so I can just iterate on that each year. Each month, I can chip away a little bit at the reconciliation, make sure that I am accurately tracking all my money, because that's the whole point of this, okay? So I've been using this for 15 years, like I said, and it's only a spreadsheet. That's it. I use Google Sheets primarily. I'm actually switching into incorporating Microsoft Excel instead of, or maybe not all the way instead of, but I'm going to make a version for Excel because the Excel mobile app is now at a point where it works great. Previously, the one big point on Google Sheets for me and my wife was that the collaboration on it, where we could pull up on our mobile app all the transactions and just easily enter for at the gas station, boom, 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 enter that in. That used to be a lot easier on Google Sheets. And arguably, it's still easier to collaborate broadly in the Google Sheets ecosystem. But Microsoft Excel has come a long ways. I've been using their app for the first time ever this year, and so either of these programs will work great. Now, I only use a spreadsheet. I only use the mobile app or the web app or the, as the case may be, desktop app for Microsoft Excel. You don't need an app to sync up to every single thing in your life and automate all this stuff. In fact, I would argue one of the main reasons that I personally, and my wife will attest to this for herself, enjoy our finance tracking system is because, not in spite of the fact that we enter every transaction. So we know at a granular level where every penny is going simply because we take like 7 seconds every time we spend money, whether that's on Amazon or at Kroger or at the gas station or at Main Event or Topgolf, or like whatever we're doing to spend money, we just take a few seconds and enter that into our sheet. It becomes a new row. Every sheet for every year has a few thousand rows on it because, shocker, we spend a lot of money. And really, we just have a lot of transactions. They're not always big. There's some that are under $10, under $5. There's like transactions under $1 in there because of the way that our bank account awards us some credit every time that I think that we use our ATM card. It rounds up to the nearest dollar and puts it into their savings account. Somehow that works good for them and they incentivize us for it, but we have those 69 cent, 72 cent, 14 cent transactions in our personal tracking system spreadsheet. So if you're stressed about money, if you're at the beginning of another year, another month, another quarter, another day where you just don't understand where your money is going or has gone up until this point, I would encourage you to stop looking for these fancy dashboards, the fancy apps, all the things that will promise the world and sync up for a, by the way, monthly fee so that you can begin giving them money to track your own finances and just add another monthly transaction or a monthly expense to the bottom line that is already lower than you want it to be. I would say cut all that out. Try this on for size. It's a spreadsheet. You can make it yourself in like 30, 40 minutes, probably a bare bones version. At the heart of it, what we're doing is simply having a row for every single financial transaction in your life. Today, this week, this month, this year. I build a new sheet every year. It has worked remarkably well. I used to segment the tabs of the sheet. You know, you've got the little tabs at the bottom in the workbook itself where you can have different tabs. I used to do that for different months. I actually don't do that anymore. I've just got one sheet and it's for the entire year. And that has proven to be great. We've got some filtering that I built in, some sliders, some of the fancy stuff that you would expect to be able to make reconciliation easier and to make just looking at trends easier. I've got a graph page. Makes looking at trends a lot easier. It'll pull in the monthly transactions. It'll show you what categories you're spending money in the most. Where are the outliers? Where are areas where you can cut back? That's just a tool so that you can actually do the real work, which is internally between your ears of figuring out what am I actually willing to change? Because when it comes down to it, finances are about change. Like if you don't change, it's going to continue on in the path that they're going. And if you're on a good path, if you're making more than you're spending, there's no problem. Well, I guess you're probably not watching this video, but if you are, then like pat yourself on the back, keep doing what you're doing. If you're interested in change, as I am usually every year, because I want to get better at keeping track of my money and actually being a good steward of my money, then this has been a great tool for me. You can check it out in the link below. I've got a newsletter down there too, where I talk about stuff like this, how to automate things, how to get better at using technology and tools that are available to us. I go into a lot more automation stuff on some of my newsletters and videos for different tooling. But this is the bare essential stuff. When it comes to my finances, I want things to be dead simple. And this has really worked great for me. I hope it's helpful for you. If you like stuff like this and you've made it this far, I bet you like spreadsheets in general. I got a bunch of other videos on them. Particularly check this one out next. I think it'll be right up your alley. Hope you have a great one. Talk to you later.